when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. You gotta sing when you're winning. Everywhere you go. Everywhere you go. You gotta sing when you're winning. Get a goal, it's just the beginning. Sing, sing when you're winning. Everywhere you go.
Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Sing When You're Winning, a Fantasy Football League Oddity podcast featuring distant cousins of podcast royalty and a very special guest once again this week who we will reveal very shortly. But waiting in line for the podcast throne are myself, Jamie, there's Steve, Lee, and I'm delighted to say that Dan is back.
Woo! Hey.
Hello, Dan. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good and back to winning ways, Steve.
Yeah.
Is that why you're back?
Yeah.
That's
the only reason.
I've just basically missed all the episodes where I didn't win a game in 6 weeks.
Good job I don't do that. I'd never be on.
Well, there's a theme. Hold that thought about people who are on a bit of a losing streak. We're going to come on to that shortly. But let's introduce ourselves. Name of your team. And this week, in fact, this very Friday morning, it's Black Friday. And it looks quite dark behind where you are, Dan, to be fair. But as it's Black Friday, this Friday morning, I'm asking you two things. One, do you care about Black Friday? I think the answer will probably be no. And if I granted you a Black Friday FPL deal, if money was no object, which player in your current team would you sell and who would you buy with the cash?
God.
Think
All
of
right.
the team.
Yeah.
Who would you get rid of and who would you bring in if money were no object? If I could grant you a magic wish this Black Friday morning.
Well, I would definitely get rid of Vober, who's unfortunately fit again, back. But with the amount of money we're going to get for him, we probably couldn't buy anyone.
No, but this is money with no object. I'm granting you a free Black Friday deal. You could get Haaland for $1 million. That would be the crazy thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan's talking about Leeds, though, not his dream team.
Oh, right. He's talking about Leeds. Yeah.
We're talking about the dream team.
We're talking about FPL. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got excited for a second there.
You might remember what this podcast's about, Dan.
That's right. It's not about me, is it? It's about
all Leeds
football. I'm out. I don't want to take part then. Right. So who would I get rid of? Well, I'm looking at my team right now. You see, I've done something really weird this season, and because I went for Haaland eventually after doing a first one match in wildcard, and I also have Jackson and Palmer. And that's it. That's all the points. I mean, that's pretty much, and everyone else is about a 5 or a 5.1 or 5.2. So I'm in this sort of situation until Christmas when we get our free hit back, where I'm sort of stuck. So for instance, I wanted to get rid of Romero because he hasn't done very much for me. But he's worth 5 million, and I'm not getting in anyone for that. But if it's unlimited, and I already have Haaland, who would I get in? I think I'd try and get in Saka, actually.
Yeah, he's coming good again, isn't he?
I think he's coming good again. That would be my choice.
Yeah, good one. Thanks, Dan. Anyone
else? But I would also get rid of Vober as well. Right, Steve?
For the record, for any Leeds fans out there, Dan would get rid of it. That's good to know. Lee, do you want to go next?
Yeah, my name's Lee Cooper, manager of the Angry Dragons. I would get rid of Kovacic because I think he's injured at the minute and I don't know when he's due back. And I would bring in Mo Salah again. So I'd have 2 Mo Salahs. Because he's outscoring everybody. So if it's a fancy one, I want 2 Mo Salahs, please.
I mean, that could be the mystery chip. You never know. It
could be, yeah.
Perhaps. I don't know.
I forgot about the chip. Yeah,
mystery chip. We're eagerly awaiting the 1st of January to find out what the mystery chip is all about. Steve, how about you?
Maybe the mystery chip is what you've just suggested, Jamie, where you can have any player you like for any value.
It could be. Imagine that.
It won't be. I'd also try and get Saka in my team, I think, but I ain't willing to give up any of my players because it just send the wrong message out to my guys. So I'm just
taking this very seriously. Very seriously. And do you like Black Friday while we're on? Are you going to go wild and shopping for Black Friday, Steve?
No, because they just say that this used to cost £200 and now it's £50 and it was never £200. So it's just falling for that. I'm a Yorkshireman.
Yeah, right.
spoken like a true Yorkshireman.
True Yorkshireman.
Is it just me? But didn't Black Friday used to be after Christmas? That's just me then, isn't it?
No, it's something to do with Thanksgiving, like the
it's the
first
day after
Friday.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
we've been an American thing, and we've
from the septics.
You're thinking of Blue Monday, Dan. Blue Monday's in January. That's the most depressing day of the year, isn't it?
We're not talking about the 1980s hits.
No, you must have heard of Blue Monday. There
is a song, yes, but
there's a day in January that's known as Blue Monday because
you're just winding me up now.
It's
genuinely is a day.
Supposedly, statistically, it's the most depressing day of the year, apparently.
Yeah,
and what day is that? So I can stay in bed.
It's sometime in January, but sometimes it's on my birthday.
Monday, because it's basically all the bills start coming in from Christmas, and there's still 2 weeks before payday, so it's Blue Monday.
Christmas is over, and
yeah.
I'm glad I've completely derailed this episode. You've been swimming along.
I was going to say we're already behind on schedule, so this is good. This is the bit that normally takes about 90 seconds. So anyway,
we like the confusion you bring, Dan.
We love it.
Education.
I think we should introduce our special guest who's been waiting ever so patiently while we've been talking nonsense. So this week's special guest, and I always credit Wikipedia for this, so I apologize in advance if any of it is wrong. So this week's special guest is an English actress. She is known for her theatre work, where she starred in The Enfield Haunting alongside our very own panelist, Dan. There we go. That bit wasn't on Wikipedia. I did that. And her role in the TV series The Great. She's also appeared in the film Mary Queen of Scots alongside Margot Robbie. And with an ever-growing CV, it seems natural, or is that word nonsense, that she's become an FPL manager in the Sing When You're Winning Conference League. And she now joins us on the Sing When You're Winning pod. Either way, let's grab the popcorn and give a standing ovation and a very warm Sing When You're Winning welcome to Grace Maloney.
Woo! Hi, that was very nice.
So welcome to the pod. How's your season going so far in the world of fantasy football?
You know what? It's going the best it's ever gone, for sure. I'm like amazed. I don't know what's happening. I'm quite amazed at how it's going. I don't know how. But this last week, I had a shocker. I somehow managed to beat Alfie by 1 point on getting Edison on from the bench because Areola was benched. But yeah, this week was touch and go, and I'm embarrassed about my performance this week. But before that, it's been okay. It's okay. Yeah, I'm beating my boyfriend as well, who's also in the league, and that is like the main thing.
That is definitely. I was going to touch on that later because he was going to be on this week's episode with you, wasn't he? But is he hiding away because you're beating him? Is that what
he's lost for like 8 weeks in a row? Yeah. No,
yes.
he did actually at work. Sadly, yeah.
And it's your 5th season in FPL, but the first season with us as a manager of Donkey Town. So is that a coincidence that this is your best season now? You're in Sing When You're Winning. Is it making you focus a little bit more week on week?
So I definitely. It's like the group chat is kind of constant. So I'm like, I can't forget to do my team. Whereas in the past, I probably have forgotten to do my team at some points.
Wait, what's the group chat?
Shh, we've not invited Dan.
Yeah, Dan's not in. Well, didn't Dan not want to be part of the group chat for a long time?
He's stayed in for a while.
Every now and then I stick him in, and then he stays for a few weeks, and then he leaves again.
So let's have, but yes, welcome along. We'll have a chat in a bit more detail about your love of Brighton and other things. But first, let's have a bit of a review of game week 12 with Steve.
Oh, Okey-dokey, we'll start in the Premier League, where the highest score was Chris Payne, who's not with us tonight. He got 85 and beat Mark Horseman, who got 42. The second highest score was Leon Farrer after all the praise he got last week on the Radio 5 Live's podcast for beating Alistair. He got 74 and beat John, who is bottom of the table, who's got 55. Mark Summerton beat a tough opposition in Tom Bird, 62-47. Neil Martin just beat Andrew Chester, 53-49. Dan, you were delighted and I suppose relieved to beat Tom Roberts, 46-39.
Yeah.
Alistair Bruce Ball messaged me the other day to say he'd had another terrible week, and he dropped 1.5 million places in the overall rankings, apparently. But he lost again. He only got 33, although he would have beaten Nikolai or Rick, who played each other in a really drab 28-17.
Wait, who got 17?
Rick.
He's on
Rick
tour,
Witter.
though, isn't he? He's
He's on tour, yeah, and he's been on tour for about 3 months, I think. So
yeah, that's true.
And Richard Archer, he beat Faris by 1 point. Always painful. League tables wise, Mark Summerton has 33, Neil Martin 31, Ed Chester's 27, then a bit of a gap to Andrew Chester 22, and at the bottom, there's no place for you in the mentions there, Dan, surprisingly. So Faris has 12 points, and the bottom three are Michelle Gale with 9, Adam Devlin with 9, and John Gregory with 9. Into the championship. The highest score there was even higher than the one in the Premier League. It was Tim Ward, who got 91, and he beat Carl, who got 55. The next highest was 67 for you, Lee. Unfortunately, your opponent also got 67. So you
wounded. I hate drawing. It's worse than losing.
It is.
It's not.
Andrew Clancy beat Jim by 2 points, 58-56. Henry Mullen beat Joe Derrick 60-55 and jumps into the automatic promotion spots. Stu is looking comfortable. He beat Al Griffin. And that leaves you, Jamie, who
No, we're not talking about that.
talking about miserable, got 27 and lost to Matt Morris, who got 35.
Oh,
and I made 5 transfers last week. That's how annoyed I was to bring in
free ones, or did he lose points on them?
4 free ones, and then I didn't need to make the last one. But Kovacic, I thought I'll bring him in. On Friday night, he was fit and happy when I made the transfer. Saturday morning, after the deadline, he was suddenly injured and out. So I was not happy. Not happy at all.
Well, you still lost by 8 points, so you would have lost anyway, didn't you?
But even so, bringing Salah, I had Salah, Palmer, and Haaland, and still only scored 27 or whatever it was.
But that league is still really tight. Tom Gregory's back to the top now. He's got 25 points. Henry has 25 points. Jim has 24. Stu has 24. Andrew Clancy has 24. And Tim Ward has now got 21. That's the playoff spots. And at the bottom, Alistair Griffin has 12. Swanee has 12. Nicola has 12. You, Lee, have 11. And Jonas is still bottom with 9. And into League One. Quite a low scoring division here. The highest score in that division was Gareth Youngs, who got 53 to beat Lee Nicholson with 29. Chesney got the next highest score, and he beat Jamie. Chesney was bottom, and he beat Jamie, who was top, 52-49.
Oh,
mostly, and he was about 20 points behind before West Ham played on Monday night, so he was quite happy with that, I think. Other narrow wins in that division for Frankie against Phil, Ben Taylor against Stu, Mike against Ben Hope, and Andy Cousins against Alex Renton. League table wise, Jamie has 27, Rich Pipes 24, and the playoffs are Lee Nicholson with 24, Paul Spence with 23, Gareth Youngs with 21, and Mike Bushell is back in the playoffs, 21 points. Unbelievable. At the bottom, the relegation spots is Stu with 13, Chesney off the bottom now with 9, Nathan Clark with 9, who's one of the people that hasn't won for quite a long time, and Nigel Clark, who also hasn't won for quite a long time. Possibly both of those haven't won since they came on the pod. So
The curse of the pod.
Curse. Sorry, Grace.
it is becoming a thing. Into the Conference League then, and the highest score in a clash of the big hitters there was Neil Robertson, who got 73 and beat Sophie Ridge, who got the second highest score in that division of 66. So hard luck for her. Other than that, all very close games. Rob Lally beat Maddox by 11 points. That was the biggest margin of victory in the whole division. Paul Tonkinson finally won a game. Unfortunately for him, most of the other teams at the bottom also won. He beat Adam Constive. Becky Bass beat high-flying Ben Halliwell. Chris Murray stunned top of the table Duke in a very dull 28-25. Grace, you beat Alfie by 1 point, as you said earlier. Casey Hawkes beat Finn by a point. Vicky Sparks was held to a draw by Indiana Hawks. And George, your boyfriend, lost for his 6th game in a row, and he lost to Pete Martini.
Oh, Georgie boy, I'm so sorry.
George.
Full of sympathy.
Tables wise, Vicky Sparks is still top 28 points, Pete Martini 27, Duke Witter 27, Ben Halliwell 25, Grace, you've got 25, a little bit of a gap. Neil Robertson's finally moving up the table, 21, Casey Hawkes 21, and the bottom 4 is Becky Bass with 10, Adam Constive with 9, Chris Murray with 6, and Paul Tonkinson also with 6, but getting his 2nd win of the season.
Good.
And also his first win since he's been on the pod.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was on the podcast about 5
in week 2.
6 weeks. Right, the preview of game week. Those managers who are, in the words of Queen and David Bowie, under pressure. It's not just Pep, is it? Because since his last basically, we're going to talk about managers who've not won in a while. So Pep's not had a win in 5 weeks. San Marino last won 1 week ago. George Pearson, 8 weeks since his last win. Nigel Clark, 9 weeks. Nathan Clark, 9 weeks. And I'm sorry to say this, Michelle, but Michelle Gale, 11 weeks since your last win in fantasy football.
Oh,
painful.
Not good, is it? Have you got any top tips for them, Steve?
We'll have to clarify that they aren't game weeks because there's been international breaks. So it's just stretching out. But it just sounds more painful, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, Steve. That's the thing.
No, but it's not mocking them. It's just encouraging them.
No, it is. But have we got any top tips for those people? Pep in particular. I think Pep needs some advice.
He does at the minute.
Yeah, get a hat.
Cut your fingernails. I think that's what it is.
But yeah,
I don't know. Obviously, a little bit of team selection, but sometimes it's just bad luck, as Dan will tell you.
Yeah,
he spent the last 6 years telling us how he's the most cursed team in the league, but he's never been relegated, has he? And he's never really in that much trouble. It's all a bit
weird, that isn't it?
Fake, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fake news.
But then, I mean, I know these people's pain. I lost 3 games in a row about a month ago, and now I've had a little run where I've won 3 in a row, so it feels a lot better. And I'm 10th or something in the league now, so it can all change around. All these games coming by Christmas, New Year, it could all be very different.
I've said it before. This is the stupidest game anyone has ever come up with. the margins between winning and losing are so small. I think, Steve, you could tell me if I'm right. I think I'm still the league leader on draws, right? I've got a ridiculous amount, like 3.
Really?
And it's all just who you play and what week. And, you know, it's like I used to watch my dad do the pools. Does anyone's dad used to do the pools?
Yeah.
I don't think he ever got 2 right. I mean, it's just impossible. You don't know. He's no idea. I mean, look at what's gone on. Everyone bought Haaland, even the ones who didn't, like me, who didn't have Haaland in to begin with, went, oh, God, this is pointless. Get him in. And he, you know, couldn't hit the side of a barn at the moment.
Well,
Does
not
it
in the
get
Premier League.
over the season? The points that you get as part of this league tend to match up with how you're doing, like overall in points. Like it works
generally,
out.
yeah. I would say that if your team's pretty good, you're going to do eventually.
Yeah.
Your luck's going to level out a little bit, but you can also be.
You can have some bad luck for sure.
You can be in the bottom half of the table and have more points than whoever's top.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Which is good.
The
Which
leagues that I'm in are like very taking up the top 10 overall of points. It's quite good. Is it usually this good? Because the league is really quite intense.
Yeah, I think your division's actually probably got the most points out of everybody. It's
ridiculous. Like in the top 10, I think 7 in the conference. It's mad.
It's a tough division to be in this year. It's, I think, even when Steve was getting together for the conference league or whatever it was, he was like, everybody that was joining was like almost professional level fancy footballers. It was like, don't want to go down there. I'm not coming back. It's bad enough in the championship.
Because people like Joe Singleton from the Lottery Winners, he's a pretty good player, and I think he's not got out of the bottom half yet.
No.
It's just that bit of luck. Look at Sophie Ridge there, got 66 and lost. Well, she would have beaten anybody else.
Yeah.
It's just that element of luck sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a hard league. Should we talk about the real Premier League? 3 games at the weekend for predictions. So we'll kick off with tonight, Friday night. Remember the early deadline, people. Friday night football is back with Brighton against Southampton. So Grace, how do you think your team are going to get on?
I'm a bit scared that this is going to be the one that we just bottle. I really hope we don't. Like, come on, we can win this game. But I feel like we actually play better under pressure sometimes, Brighton. And I don't like to jinx it. So I'm just going to touch wood and say, hopefully it keeps going as it's been going, and we'll beat them. I think we will.
Southampton are probably one of the worst team of footballers I have ever seen, except against Leeds.
Making friends again, Dan.
3 times they beat us last season. 3 times, including the playoff final. And they are awful. And they were awful last season as well. And I don't care who's upset about it. They're dreadful. A terrible, terrible football team. There you go. That's my controversial take. I'll see you in 6 weeks.
Yeah, definitely not on the fence.
But on the plus side, it could have been us, Dan. It could have been Leeds that were bottom of the league.
We still would never have been as bad as Southampton. They're shocking.
They are shocking. They are. I don't think anyone here thinks that Southampton are going to get a result at Brighton, really, do we?
No, I don't think they will. I just don't want to jinx it. But they're not. Of course they're not. Beat Man City. Fine.
Well, don't worry. Last week I said there was no way Man City were going to lose 5 games in a row.
Well, none of us predicted. Oh no, we did. To be fair, Lee, you said Spurs would score 4, didn't you?
Yeah, I said.
Did you?
That's right. 4-1 to Tottenham.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And we all laughed.
I bet. Even me on the inside.
Did you put a bet on?
No, I didn't. No.
Oof.
Not a betting.
Well, they got it wrong because it was 4-0, so it's no good.
That's still lost.
That's true. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed for Brighton tonight. But let's jump ahead to Sunday now. Man U v Everton. Sean Dyche in trouble. Have you seen Everton's fixture list for the next 6 games? Like, where's their next point coming from? But Man U Everton, what do we think?
I reckon Everton's going to take that one.
I mean, is that hope or reckon?
Well, I mean, it's another one of those where, you know me, listeners who have only just joined in, I basically, my entire football ethos is who I don't like. And I'm really petty and vindictive. So, quite frankly, if the game gets called off and they both get docked 10 points, it'd be a result for me.
I think United will win. I think they started off well, didn't they, the weekend, and they played all right. But
I thought Ipswich were a better side overall. I thought Ipswich should have won the game.
I don't know. I think there's lots of anti-Manchester United bias.
Well, there is.
Really?
I think it's fair to say. No, I think I'll go United. I'm going to go 3-1 United. I think that's what I put in me predictions. So I'm going to go 3-1 United.
Yeah. To be fair, he didn't have a lot of time to do anything with them, did he? They were all away on international break, and he only had a week with whatever was left, I suppose. So how much tactically can he change in a week?
I saw some comments on Twitter. I don't know how true they were about, like him saying this player's doing all right, this one's doing well, and that type of thing. And it was quite sensible stuff, to be honest with you. But when you're letting,
he's bigging up Mason Mount, isn't he, for a comeback into the team? I think.
Yeah, he is. It's there for him to take, isn't it?
That might be a good buy. Is he still cheap, Mason Mount?
I imagine so. I've forgotten he even played for.
Yeah, when he was coming on the sub the other night, I thought I forgot all about you. So he probably will be cheap.
Tip.
Yeah, as a top tip. Grace, what do you think, Man U or Everton?
I think Man U.
Yeah.
I think like Everton this weekend. I watched just the highlights of the Brentford Everton, and they couldn't beat a 10-man Brentford.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They're not good.
Probably
Yeah.
Mason Mount 6.3. 6.3 for Mason Mount.
Well,
Still.
Could be a bargain, yeah.
Yeah.
Final game I'm looking forward to at the weekend is Liverpool City, the obvious one.
A big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can't lose another one. They can't lose another one, surely.
You'd say that they weren't going away to Anfield. I mean, I think Liverpool might smash them, to be honest.
I do. I think so. They're reeling. They're on the ropes, aren't they, City? And they've got that look about them that I've become very familiar with as a Leeds fan, where you sort of realise that the players have run out of ideas. They just don't know what to do next.
No, I think you're right.
Well, even Pep's bemoaning all his lack of players now, and he's saying he's missing 4 midfielders and 3 centre backs and 2 wingers. I don't know where they've all gone, but
it's this talk, isn't it, about Rodri winning the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah.
Since then, they've just been awful.
Yeah, and it was when Haaland said, "Stay humble." I mean,
That's it.
around the time it all went wrong a little bit. To be fair,
There's a bit of karma there.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, for the league, I mean, you wouldn't want Liverpool running away with it too early, but I think Liverpool will smash City. Anyone going to go for City here on the panel?
I'm going to go for City. I'm going to go for City. Yeah, I'll go for City, pull him on out of the bag. I think Haaland's going to hit some form. I'm going to
say draw then.
2-0. Yeah, 2-0 draw.
1-1.
1-1. And hopefully
Salah and Haaland.
Yeah, you'll be happy for my FPL point. Good stuff. Right, let's have more of a conversation with you now, Grace. Thanks again for coming on the pod. We've got a couple of questions. The panel have to prepare questions for homework, so I'll give them some time. Steve never does his homework, although he does a lot of preparation for the show, so I'll give him some time to think about that. Dan probably hasn't done his homework either, so he can think of a question. But before we do that, why Brighton? I ask everyone who comes on, why did they support the team they do?
So this splits people. I'll be interested to hear what you guys think about this. But 5 years ago, my friends and I were talking about the fact that we can really get into the Euros and the World Cup because we feel like we get to know the players. None of us had a club that we supported, and we were like, it's not too late to pick a club and support them until the day we die. And so we went through first we actually thought about Brentford because they were sort of local. They were championship at this point. And I brought it up and he was like, absolutely not. It's my thing. So Brentford were off. And then we went through the Premier League and we immediately discounted top 6. We didn't want a glory support and we knew we wouldn't be able to go to the games because we wouldn't be able to afford them or get in. And we landed on Brighton because of the beach and because there were some quite fit players. And so we were like, yeah, let's go with Brighton. Like we literally knew nothing about them other than we like a day out in Brighton. So we'd like to go there and spend the morning there and then go to the game. And then honestly, it's been like it's quite a life-changing conversation that because we really support them like to the end now and try and go whenever we can. We go try and go once a month to the Amex and watch all the other games together. And yeah, I think we picked really well. And the first season that we supported them, they were in a relegation battle. I don't think we saw a win in like 4 months, and it was under Potter, so it was quite boring football. It was like 0-0, 1-1. So it was quite a struggle at first to keep the momentum up, and then as soon as it changed, and they started winning, I was like, this is just fantastic. And now, feel very, very happy to be a Brighton supporter now.
I love the approach. It's not too dissimilar in some ways to the approach that Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds took to picking Wrexham, and they did a whole TV show out of it. So maybe you and your mates
It's
kind
true.
of revisit that and tell that story. It's quite fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of, some people are like, oh, you're fake fans, you're not from Brighton. But I'm like, but we go to the games, we support the club, we know what's going on. Like, I think it's just a matter of time. I think when we get to like the 8-year mark of supporting them, people give us some more respect for our support, you know. Still early days, but yeah, 5 years feels like a long time.
And it's similar to Maddox, who was on the other week. And you did you listen to that one, Dan? The one with Maddox on? Maddox chose Manchester United 6 years ago. Of all the teams he could have picked.
That's just silly, isn't it?
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, huge error there. Huge error. My family are all from, my mum's family are from Manchester. So my family, my mum and dad and brother don't really care about football at all, which is why I didn't have a team. But my mum's family are all United season ticket holders. So they were a bit offended that I didn't pick United. But I was like, no.
You get a lot of respect on here for not picking United.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen.
Brilliant. And what would you say? I always ask what are the highs and lows of supporting your club. So, what's the best thing you've seen supporting Brighton? Has there been any? There won't have been many lows in that time, but has there been any that stick out?
There is actually like some real. So when Potter left, it was on the same day the Queen died. It was me. Worst news. Sorry to any royalists, but
trivia question that surely.
I know. 8th September.
GPT, yeah.
It's also my fault, I remember it, but so I think it was only 8th of September, so we weren't far into the league, but Brighton were 4th and doing so well, and it was really exciting start, and then he left in the most savage way, gutting the team, taking 6 of the backroom staff to Chelsea, and I just remember just being completely like, what is the point when these teams that have so much money can just buy out whoever they want? Like, how is it ever going to change? It's always just going to be the hierarchy. And then we got De Zerbi in, and so that was a low light for me, losing him. And then De Zerbi came in. I really liked him, but he hadn't won any games. And then we were playing Chelsea at the end of October, so it was about a month of him being in, and we smashed them 4-1 in front, like with Potter. It was just amazing. It was great. It was such a sweet feeling. Like, money can't buy you.
No, see, I remember watching that game, but as a Brighton, I worked with a guy from Brighton at the time, and I remember how buzzing he was. He was like, "This is the best game of all time." So.
It literally was, and I'm sure there are other Brighton fans who have a deeper history of Brighton who would be like, "No, it was when we did this." Or I think there's some bigger games in the past, but for me, that was huge, and I think for most Brighton fans, that was a big game. It's so sweet. It was a sweet feeling.
Absolutely. And I think Brighton are one of those teams, unless you're an obvious rival, I think most fans quite like Brighton to do well in the Premier League. I think most people would kind of cheer them on if they were playing any of the top 6.
That's good. It's because they're really well run. Tony Bloom is the only club to be in profit from their sales and purchases. So he's so smart about it. And, when we lost De Zerbi again before Hertzler came in, I was kind of like, how are we going to do that again? Getting De Zerbi was such a magic touch. But I think Tony Bloom just really knows his shit. He knows what he's doing, and I have so much faith in him.
He was on TalkSport a few weeks ago, and I didn't really know anything about him, but what he was saying made so much sense about, making sure the club have got enough money to do what they're doing now, not being stupid and spending stupid amounts, just slowly, and buying well and selling better, was their policy. And they did it they did it for a reason. They did it to kind of improve the team at a later date. So he had a much longer term plan than most clubs, and I think that's why they're doing so well. And like you said, my head office for the company I work for is in Brighton, and it's such a great club to go and watch. It's like almost everybody loves it, and like you said, the reason you support it, it's a beach. You know, Brighton's a beautiful place. You can go and have a coffee, and it's wonderful. Yeah. What's there not to like? It's like a posh Blackpool.
I know. Posh Blackpool.
You can get coffee in Blackpool, Lee. You don't have to drink.
Only in posh places like Wetherspoons.
Right, kind of need to some Blackpool. It's a cracking place. Right, let's move swiftly on. Just to touch on again, what's the FPL rivalry like though in your house with George? You talk about FPL a lot.
I'm actually having to tread a bit lightly because I am just absolutely smashing it. It's like not even really a competition at this point.
Oh, that's the worst thing you can ever say.
Ouch.
No, he likes to credit. He's like, I got you into it. You know what you know through me. And actually, a lot of my, limited football knowledge is through him. But he doesn't help me pick my team. So it's fine though. It's fine. Not too many arguments.
Is that a good point to go to the listener's question?
Yes, we've got a listener's question apparently.
Oh, the postbag's full.
Yes. I'll just rummage through the bag and I'll pick one out at random, a postcard. And, so this one is from George Pearson. It's from a George Pearson.
I've never heard of him. Right.
He says, could you ask Grace what gives you the right to start doing my thing and be better at it than I am?
What gives you the right?
Wow. Yes. I feel partly responsible about this because Grace and I used to sort of have a quick FPL chat in the green room week after week, and I was like, I think you'd be really good at this league. You should join. So sorry, George, that's my fault.
So moving on, it's carrying on. He's not finished yet.
Wow.
Here we go.
But really, I'd like to know how Grace picks her team. Is it form, fixtures, or some tipsters, etc.? Because she gets names wrong all the time. So it feels to me like it's all guesswork, but she's good at it. So my main question is, how does she do it?
Wow, good question, George. It's genuinely statistics for me. I look at the numbers, and it works sometimes, and it doesn't work other times.
It's Moneyball. Grace is doing Moneyball, basically. I think.
What's Moneyball?
Doing the stats, just working off the stats.
Yeah, it's stats. I look at how many points they've scored so far, how much they are. Just literally what's there, the numbers. Yeah.
He goes on.
Oh my
God, George,
shut up.
George, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
How we got it all on a postcard, I've no idea. But yes, basically, how do you keep getting away with it?
Yeah.
She used to put Lamptey in her team because he was cute.
Oh, he's so cute.
And then sometimes people just because they had funny names. And she once bought in Souček by accident and he scored and got an assist. What is going on?
Oh my gosh, he's right. Yeah, no, my first season was just like people that I thought looked either cute or fit, or they were all scoring 0, and then I've got more competitive with it. So that's all the information I'm going to give George. Don't want him to see
this is the power of positive thinking, people, because here's me who chooses entirely on people I don't like. And Grace here is killing it, and it's whether she likes them or they're cute. I'm going to totally change the way I approach this from now on.
I'm going to watch Dan's team with interest over the next couple of
Yeah, just cute.
Well, although I'm not supposed to mention it, Nick picks Van Dijk in her team because he's very handsome.
Well,
Will you be in trouble for mentioning that now?
I will be, yeah. Hopefully she won't listen this week.
nightmare. I took
Hello,
Porro
dear.
out for Van Dijk this week, which was a shocker. I took Porro out for Van Dijk, so huge error. Huge error.
But you won.
You
won.
I did. Just
Could have been worse. You could have put Porro on the bench like me.
that is more painful. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Right, some more questions then. So this one, bear with us on this question. What's the best line you've ever had to say out loud as part of a show?
Oh my, wow.
There's one I could think of that she had to say in the grate, but she can't repeat it on here.
That is true.
I mean, I can put an E on it if you
She
it
can
depends
be.
how bad it is.
Okay.
Was it "There's a man upstairs"?
No, that's my line in the Anfield Haunting about you. There are some really rude ones in the grate. Shall I go for one of those?
Go for one of those. Yeah,
You'll
we'll
need to. There's quite a lot of.
Ready with the beep.
Yeah. Oh God, this is awful. What are you doing with those looks you're locking on upon? No, wait. Sorry. Let me start again. Those looks you're locking upon me that say you want to take a knife, slice my dress open in one swift movement, tear it from my naked body, and oh no, I can't even shove yourself inside my wet.
Wow.
Come on.
I think that was
I hope my mum doesn't listen to this. I mean, she's watched the show and she didn't see it.
Yeah.
I couldn't help the lines on that show. They were outrageous. They were outrageous. I don't know if anyone's watched it. It was funny. It was a joke.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
No. Well, I mean, that question was based on I was talking to Alistair Bruce Ball last week. He certainly's never said anything like that. As far as I'm aware.
Well,
he did stand on people's balls.
He did. stand on people's balls.
I remember first episode getting in trouble for saying shite, and now look at us. What happened to this podcast?
Well, Maddox did say the C word one week, and we cut it out. we got right to the end.
Cut that line out. Actually, maybe I should give you another one.
No, that's good. It's good, and you didn't actually say the word, to be fair. So,
no, I didn't.
Right, one more question from me, and then we'll go to the others. If you could start in any film series or TV series, what would it be?
Ooh.
Enfield Haunting, the television series.
Been done. I'm too old now, Dan, to play a 17-year-old on TV, maybe on stage. I would say something along the lines of Line of Duty. That vibe. I know that I don't know if that's a bad answer, but I've done a lot of period dramas and like things in corsets and wigs and stuff, and I quite like a good crime drama,
A gritty northern drama,
gritty BBC job, something like that. Yeah, Line of Duty. Why not? I'll be a police officer in that.
Sounds good. No, good stuff. Thank you very much. So, Dan, have you thought of a question?
I have thought of a question, and it's a bit unfair because I sort of, Grace and I spent the best part of about 7 months sitting looking at each other amongst the rest of us. So I know quite a lot about it. But so here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Out of everyone you work with, who do you think would be the best footballer?
Ooh. I feel like Nicholas Hoult could be a good footballer.
Yeah.
He's very good at dancing and golf and he's a sporty man. I can imagine him being good, and he's a fantastic guy. He's just a talented man, so he'd probably be good at football, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think good answer.
Good stuff. Dan, are you a little bit gutted that you didn't
I'm
say
thinking Dan was thinking he was a bit of a meaty centre out there, wasn't he? A bit...
glum down now.
Midfield general, me. I was the engine in the middle of the park.
Thank you. Right, Lee, what's your question?
So I was going to ask a similar question to you, Jamie. So I'm going to come up with another one now. My question was going to be, which part would you like to play? So which character could you play, past or present? But I'll skip that for now.
Okay.
And I'm the manager of the Angry Dragons. You are the patron of Dragon Drama, amongst many other wonderful people. And I just wondered if you could tell me a little bit more about what Dragon Drama is.
Yeah, Dragon Drama was a drama group that I went to when I was in primary school and up to about the age of 14. And it was just a kind of a drama club on Tuesdays after school where we'd do improv and put on some plays. And it was definitely the start of me realizing that I enjoyed acting and I was all right at it. It definitely wasn't at that point when I decided that it was going to be a career, because I was quite shy at Dragon Drama. I was always in the background, but it was a really lovely group in Teddington, which is where I grew up. And yeah, nice to shout out Dragon Drama. Yeah, thank you.
Lee always does his research. He does his homework very well.
He does, doesn't he? He comes out with some stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Deep dives.
Thank you, Lee. And over to you, Steve. What's your question?
My questions were kind of a mix of what everyone's already said, really. I was kind of thinking a lot of people might grow up and thinking I want to be like that footballer. Or so, is there like an actress that you'd sort of hope to be like, or?
I think there are, growing up, I think Meryl Streep is amazing. I think that's quite an obvious answer, but she's fantastic. Jessie Buckley, I think, is brilliant, and Rebecca Ferguson, and I mean, so many, yeah. But when I was growing up, I didn't want to be an actor till I was 17. So I wanted to be a lawyer and a vet before that. So I wasn't like, I want to be like them. But I think they are people that I really admire.
That's quite a shift then, isn't it? Quite a shift to sort of decide to do that. I imagine going into acting is a bit of a commitment, isn't it? Because I imagine financially it's a bit of a black hole.
Yeah, it's up and down, but it it was. I went to quite a good grammar school that was very academic, and it didn't focus on drama school at all. So I didn't really think that could be a career from my school. My parents kind of do things within the acting industry and the theatre industry, but yeah, I just more focused on an academic route and decided a bit later that theatre was what I liked doing the most. Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, thank you for answering our questions there. We've got some more random questions towards the end when we play kind of shooting stars. If you've listened to the pod before, we're going to ask you some of those random quickfire questions. But first, we're going to do Sing When You're Winning Superfan. It's that time of the pod where each week we test our guests' footballing knowledge and see how many questions they can get correct in 90 seconds. How are you feeling about the Sing When You're Winning Superfan bit?
Like, so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if in doubt, blame ChatGPT. So
okay.
That you can say the AI.
I love a quiz. I don't know. Like, it's limited, my football knowledge.
Okay,
for sure.
good stuff.
I'll probably shout out the answer anyway.
Yes. When we first started doing this, Dan thought it was just a free for all.
Oh my God.
He does like to chip in, yeah.
It's so good. But the lowest score, just as a reminder, is 2. I won't mention those people because I mention them every week and I feel a bit bad. But there's 2.
I actually was thinking, because they're mentioned every week, I was like, I'm going to be the score of 0. And I really don't want every week them to be like, Grace got 0.
Yeah. So we'll just say there's 2 and there's 6. So if you were to beat 6, you would go straight to the top of the leaderboard. So but we shall see. So Steve is our official timer with 90 seconds on the clock.
Go on, Grace.
So yeah, what are you going to shout, Steve, or should we keep this a surprise once again?
I can't do Grace's quote, can I?
Part of it.
You won't remember it, to be fair. But,
a long one.
Go on, I'll go. I'll get there.
We'll see what you come up with after 90 seconds. And Dan, do you want to do the scoring this week? That can stop you from diving in.
Can I please? Thank you.
So fingers in the air.
That's just up the controversy already, isn't it? Dan's going to just get the count wrong.
Cool. So as I said, we use ChatGPT. But yeah, so the time will start when I ask the first question, and you have 90 seconds.
Okay.
So what was Brighton's best ever Premier League finish?
6th.
Yes, that's one. Then next question. What major football event did Qatar host in 2022?
It was the World Cup.
It was. These just come up, honestly. Which club won the 2020 UEFA Champions League?
Is that the Euros?
No.
The Champions League.
Yeah,
oh God. Liverpool?
No, Bayern Munich. Who won the 2014 FIFA World Cup?
Was it Germany?
It was Germany. Well done. Who is the top scorer in the history of the UEFA Champions League?
Ronaldo?
It is, yeah. See, on 4.
Oh, wow.
Which manager led Chelsea to win the 2021 UEFA Champions League?
Tuchel?
It was. Yeah, that's 5. Next question. Which club broke the British transfer record in 2021 to sign Jack Grealish?
City.
It was Man City. And next question. Who was the Ballon d'Or winner in 2020?
Cut.
This is a shit question. I'm just going to throw that out there.
You still get to answer it, though.
You still get to answer it. It's a tricky one. It was in think about the year. Who was the 2020 Ballon d'Or winner?
Did they play in the Premier League?
No.
I won't know them then.
Think bigger. Think bigger.
The year it was 2020.
So it's COVID. I'm past.
Probably one of 2.
No. Well, the
controversy
is it was cancelled, so nobody won it in 2020.
Oh,
question.
That's why I try to give you a big clue there. And
Okay.
Look,
They didn't.
How many did you get?
And at the end of that round, Grace, you scored 12.
Yeah.
Wait. It's 6.
It's 6.
Wow.
I did. To be fair, I put into ChatGPT to ask questions for the last 5-6 years because I knew that's your history of football.
That's really kind.
That's what came up. But yes. And
over to George then when we get George on, see how he does.
I know. See if I can beat him. There's no way I'll beat him at that. His football knowledge is quite incredible.
Well, you're joint top now, and if you got that Ballon d'Or question, it would have been number 1.
Oh.
So now you'll still get mentioned as one of the top scorers. You see,
use
the top scorers' names. That's
so. There you go. That's the joy. That's what you get out of ChatGPT. It mixes every single week. So yeah, but well done. Let's have an update on Bletchley Scott. Now, this is about the football team we sponsor, Grace.
Yeah.
And there's Lee sporting the excellent football top that you can purchase on the terrace. We've not mentioned the terrace much this week, have we? So
no. Let's give them a shout. All right, Carl.
All right, Carl, how are you doing?
Where's my mug?
Fine mugs.
Good stuff. So the lads played last week against Stony Stratford. How do we think they got on against Stony Stratford?
Got to get back to
where
winning
are they
ways.
in the league? Where are they in the league?
I don't know, but unfortunately, it was a 5-1 defeat. They were on a bit of a losing streak. And this week, they play the team who beat them on the opening day 6-1, MK Wanderers. But it could all change on Saturday. So let's all say, come on, Bletchley.
Come on, Bletchley.
Come on, Bletchley.
Come on, Bletchley.
I say, board out. Get the board out.
Yes.
Sack the board.
Yeah, change your manager and all.
Sack the sponsors.
No, let's not sack the sponsors. We need them. Right, let's play Shooting Stars then. Did you read Match magazine or Shoot magazine growing up?
No.
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 Well, in those magazines, they did kind of player profiles every week where they would ask footballers from kind of the late 70s, 80s, 90s what their favorite cheese was or what their favorite car was and daft things like that. So some weeks we asked people to guess what footballers would have said, but recently we've just gone down asking you those, or whoever the guest is, those questions. So that it's kind of, the idea is quick fire. One of our guests who shall remain nameless recently, we did a lot of editing because it wasn't quite quick fire. But yeah, try not to think too much about the question. They're all relatively straightforward and it's all a bit of nonsense. So which subject did you hate most at school and why?
Geography, because I'm just not, my brain doesn't work like that. Directions, no. Capital cities, no.
That stuff, fair enough. What would you do if you could be invisible for a day?
I would go to the Brighton changing rooms.
Oh, wow. And just say that line from The Great.
No.
On a stadium tour, hopefully.
No, it's not even filthy. I'm doing it because I just want to hear what they say at half time.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
you want to hear the tactics.
Of course, I want to hear the tactics. And
They say, did you watch The Great last night? It's filthy.
Potty mouth.
Potty mouth, Queen Agnes. Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, Dan, what did we get up to in the interval? Nothing. We'd go on our phones, have a cup of tea, have a chat. But they always come back in the second half. It's nothing like an interval at theatre. They are ready to go. I just want to hear what happens back then and see them. And then maybe if Chelsea had a late kickoff, I would sneak to Stamford Bridge and I would maybe put some laxatives in their water bottles.
Amazing.
Brilliant. I love how in the time you've supported Brighton, you've grown to hate Chelsea that much.
Oh, I hate it so much. Yeah, that's
so,
what I do.
Thank you. Who would you most like to meet and why?
Steve Carell. He's my hero. I love The Office US. It's my favorite show ever. And I just love Steve Carell.
Excellent. Thank you. What, if anything, frightens you?
I have something called trypophobia. Does anyone have that? Nope. Just me. It's a fear of clumps and holes. Have you heard of it? It's like frog spawn or like the middle of a sunflower, looking at clumps of things with holes in or dots. It makes me want to vomit.
I think I have seen that. So if you see the images, is that what it is?
Yeah, the images on Google are the most disturbing things ever. It's like crammed with some sort of horrible infection. But it's more than that. It's kind of lots of things in nature set me off, or lots of like some artwork sets me off when it's lots of dots on it. It's like clumps of things I don't like. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Still not as weird as Jamie. So
I knew Steve was going to do that. I mean, I've got a long list of weird stuff. This is becoming apparent week on week, so we'll move swiftly on. If you were competing in Mastermind, what would your specialist subject be?
Football from the past 5 years.
Yeah, football from the past.
Pretty good at it.
Great.
It would be either dog breeds or The Office US. I think I'll back myself more on The Office US though. Yeah.
Good stuff. And 2 more questions. Who is your favourite cartoon character?
I would go with Arthur. Do you know Arthur?
What, from the American one?
You know, there's a theme tune that's like, every day when you're walking down the street, everybody.
Yeah.
He was like a little, I don't even know what he was. Was he a
bear?
He wasn't. He was kind of looked like a bear. I don't know what animal he was, but it was. I just loved Arthur when I was growing up.
I missed that one, Arthur. I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
It sounds good. And the final question is, what was your first car and how much did it cost?
I've never had a car. I learned to drive about a year ago in an intensive course. I learned over 2 weeks and failed and then passed. And I have not been in a driver's seat since my test that I passed. I have a driver's license, never had a car.
Well done for passing. There's probably plenty of people who drive who've never passed. So
yeah,
you do it the right way. You do it the right way. Good stuff. And that was Shooting Stars, and that was this week's Sing When You're Winning podcast. So thank you so much for Grace for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed that and it wasn't too random a conversation.
It was really nice. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter at SWYW_FPL. We're also now on TikTok. We're pushing this shit everywhere. Trust me. So we'll continue to try and drum up the numbers. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave us a comment or ask an FPL question. We might be able to get serious and discuss it in next week's show, where we'll be joined by another top guest. So thanks again to Grace. Good luck with the season.
Thank you.
We'll watch how you're getting on in the conference with interest. Thanks to Steve, Lee, and Dan. Great to have you back. Hope you'll be able to join us again next week. But yeah, enjoy your footballing week and keep on singing and keep on winning. And don't forget, it's the Friday deadline tonight for FPL. See ya.
See ya.